Don't chant by the book or follow your seasons. We cast in reverse like true southern heathens. The rules don't stick and we bite not bits. This ain't your grandma's coven, it's the Broken Pentacle witch.
Dealing with burnout, with spiritual slumps, or considerable lack of motivation, we are here to discuss these topics. If you're losing your focus, direction, and intention within your practice, we are going to address these and other witchy subjects today. We're very excited to bring this next episode 2 of the Broken Pentacle to you today.
Welcome, wonderful witches, to the Broken Pentacle podcast. This is a space for witches who walk their own path beneath an upside-down sky, where the stars tell different stories, and the magic, it's got teeth. We're your hosts, Owlvine and Avalon, 2 witches who've lived our craft under the southern skies for decades.
Our topic for today is 5 easy tips to ignite the essence of your craft. Whether your cauldron's been bubbling or bone dry lately, this episode is going to be like flint and steel, something to strike a spark and bring your practice roaring back to life.
To get us started, we're going to be doing our first segment, which is the Witch's Apothecary, Elixir, Stone, Herb, and Bone. And this week we have a stone for you. This week we are playing with beautiful aventurine. We invite you to also play with your aventurine over the next few weeks. To kick us off, we've got some information to share with you about the stone to get you started in your own exploration. This stone is associated with the amazing planet Mercury. Now, at the time of recording, we're currently in Mercury retrograde. This is an awesome stone to support through this time. It's associated with mental powers and visions as well, if you want to draw those in. It also helps to clear the mind where needed. It's a really powerful stone for leadership. It helps to ignite confidence. It helps you with influencing others. And it also helps you to find solutions, which is a little bit more Mercury, I would say.
Yeah.
It's also really, really powerful for the heart, which makes sense with this green color here. Heart energy. It helps to strengthen and restore heart energy. It has a really loving, embracing, and protective energy to the heart specifically. This is an awesome stone to be using during this Leo season, which we are currently in at the time of this recording also. This stone is amazing for people who are shy, timid, or suppressing their leadership abilities in any way. Working with aventurine is going to help you open all of this up and bring healing to those spaces within the child self. This stone also activates and it helps you to initiate action. Okay, that's that fiery kind of Leo heart energy as well, getting those things moving. It helps to open the lungs, helps with eyesight, and also, very on theme for us, stimulates creativity. We needed a little bit more of that, didn't we?
We did.
It also helps to enhance intelligence, and magically it's awesome for peace, any money work, abundance, prosperity, and luck as well, drawing in opportunities.
Great. I've always had aventurine, but it's just been one of those stones that, you see it and one day it calls to you, you pick it up, but then you never use it. Aventurine, while it's been with me for a very long time, it's never been a stone that I have put to good use at all for any given reason. I'm very excited, especially since this was one of the stones that was in that random bag in my handbag. Like I had this collection of random stones, and now that I'm staying away from home, I find this bag of stones, and there were such weird and wonderful stones in there, and aventurine was one of them. I was like, when did I pack this and why did I pack this? But now I feel like I've kind of been forced to work with this stone in a way. And when I was doing my own little research, I found that it's a stone of opportunity and luck. Known as the stone of opportunity, it's believed to attract good fortune, especially in new ventures, career moves, and financial success. Again, heart chakra stuff, which I believe that you covered, promoting emotional balance, compassion, and inner peace, all part of that experience. Prosperity and abundance. I feel like I do hear a lot of information about aventurine when it comes to prosperity work and prosperity crystal grids and bracelets and things like that. Often used in money spells and wealth attracting rituals. It's said to help manifest financial growth and stability. It can also be used in a grid with pyrite and proper citrine, not dyed citrine, but proper citrine. Courage and confidence, it encourages personal growth, helping to overcome fear and take bold steps forward. If you're a bit timid, this might be the stone for you, especially if you're chasing a bit of a creative upgrade and you're feeling a little bit timid at the same time, maybe a little imposter syndrome there. Could be a good one to sort of help push you forward. And then it has these beautiful physical healing components, which I believe Owlvine talked about, but I did a little deep dive into some of the cultural uses and the old ritual uses. I found a bit of information about imperial associations in ancient China. It was considered the stone of heaven, and it was called Indian jade and used as a cheaper alternative to jade in carvings and seals and ornaments. It also holds that luck wealth. Traders and gamblers carried it as a talisman for good fortune, and Taoist rituals suggest it was placed in wealth bowls and meditations to cultivate life force and things like that. Also has presence in Tibetan Buddhist traditions and for prayer beads. And European folklore from about the 18th to the 19th century. Venetian glass origins. The name aventurine comes from the Italian avventura, by chance, referencing an accidental discovery of gold-flecked glass in Muriano. I don't know how to pronounce it.
Muriano, maybe?
Italy?
We're Australian.
Yeah, we're trying. There we have it. There's man-made aventurine as well. Keep that in mind. And again, gambler's talisman. And then modern day rituals, prosperity grids, heart chakra work, and full moon charging. This one really responds to full moon charging. I love to put my crystals out in the full moon, but I don't put all my crystals out in the full moon. How do you feel about that, Alva?
I'm the same. I have different ones that I feel differently. Some I will bury in the earth, and others I like to work with water. And others, for me, I'm very choosy with my full moon charging. Let's put it that way.
Yeah.
The way that even my house is situated, it used to be very easy in my other witchy space. I literally had the moon come over my altar every night. It was gorgeous. This house is a bit different. It's a little bit more of an effort. I find that it definitely depends on the crystal, but as part of our experimentation, I will definitely be putting this into the full moon to see what that vibe is.
Yeah, I would say I'm looking forward to that. Like, I don't have a lot of crystals with me. When is the next full moon?
That's a great question. Let's have a quick look, shall we?
I have apps for this.
I've got it in my bujo here, the 9th.
Oh, that's not too... We're in first quarter. The moon is in Scorpio today, in case...
Which makes sense because I went out and I looked at the moon last night. And
oh,
nice. Indeed, in its first quarter.
I like it. And for anyone who wants a good moon app, you can get this one here. This is the Deluxe Moon.
Deluxe Moon's great. I use that too.
It's fantastic. All right. Towards the end of our episode, we're going to do a little bit of a ritual preparation of our stone and sort of show you how you can work your stone, bring it to life, really embed some intention in there and have that, that beautiful, creative, magical experience. And that's going to be towards the end. But right now, we are going to jump into the crux of our episode today, which I'm excited about.
I can't wait to get into this topic. It's a good one, you guys. We've both felt the ebb and flow of magic over the years in our own practice, and we know how powerful even a small spark can be for your magic. Avalon, why don't you take us in and set the scene for us today as we ignite the essence of our craft?
5 easy tips to ignite the essence of your craft. That's what we're going with here. We've got a couple of talking points that we'd like to discuss between us, and we're just going to jump right in. So the first one is more like a return to the roots. The power of simplicity, how folk magic often thrives in mundane daily acts. Example, kitchen witchery weather divination, candle magic. When it comes to feeling a bit of a disconnect with your practice and feeling as though you're in a bit of a spiritual slump, getting back to the roots of your practice can be paramount in that process of reactivation. And it doesn't have to be hectic, and it doesn't have to be complicated, and it doesn't have to be overtly ritualistic. Sometimes those things are great. Other times, when we're feeling a little empty, they can be exhaustive. We're talking about the little tiny things that you can do each and every day, multiple times a day. What do you say, Owlvine? What is one simple sort of folk magical aspect that does thrive in that Monday? Like really little, really simple that you feel that connection to.
For me, when I'm feeling as if I'm overwhelmed or I'm not really connected to my practice or whatever the issue might be, when I strip it back and go right down to the basics, for me, this is simple energy work, grounding and shielding. I begin my day with these. I find these are really powerful to get you into that magical mode again, but they're simple and so easy. They can be done anywhere and they don't require a bunch of energy. For me, this is something I began my practice with, which is why I go back to it. I think that's something for people to remember. What are your basics? Where did you start your craft? Because often it's in those simple things that you'll find that reignition of inspiration. Also, I find nature connection is a big one. This is for me. Not all witches are nature-based, although I think most of us probably are. Just getting outside is such a huge thing for reconnecting. Getting outside in that magical mindset to connect, to talk to the moon or whatever it might be. These are some really powerful ways, simple, but I find they are sort of the essence of my own craft.
Excellent. Thank you. I would say, we were talking a little bit about this yesterday, actually, and I look at things from what did I do when I was a kid, right? And coffee was a big thing in my household. I'm Brazilian. Coffee was the thing. Everyone would get around and have a cafezinho. And then you would sit there in the morning and you would have a cafezinho. Everything was coffee. Coffee has this kind of embedded ancestral thing for me. And one thing that I will do if I'm starting to feel really flat, I don't drink a lot of coffee anymore because of my heart. I can't. It gives me a lot of anxiety now. I have to be really deliberate and very sparing with it. When I am being deliberate and sparing with it, it's perfectly fine and it does what it needs to do. And we have a nice little balance now. I will wake up and I will be very deliberate with this. I'll put on a pot of coffee, and to that coffee, I will add a pinch of cinnamon. Sometimes I'll put a pinch of cocoa powder. Sometimes I'll put a pinch of lion's mane, mushroom, and I'll sit there and I'll stir it in a clockwise fashion and I'll just whisper to it. And it's very simple and it's very soothing. And I do believe you require a bit of quiet, although I have 3 children. I have done this with 3 children and I live in a tiny home. When I say that you can do it, you can absolutely do it. It doesn't matter if there's chaos around you. You just have to find that inner place, that place that you go where you can just be a little bit extra witchy. I would say that I do my salt cleansing. In my ancestral practice, we adhere to a salt cleansing ritual, right? It happens once a month at the very least. When things start to get hard, when things get a bit foggy, when you're feeling like you're carrying a lot on your shoulders, metaphorically speaking, we would recommend a salt bath. And a salt bath happens at any time of the day or night, preferably nighttime. You need salt. You need hot enough water, comfortable enough to pour it on your body, that is. You need a white candle and a glass of water. You place your white candle and your glass of water set up on your altar before you start. You will have your bath as you usually would, and then you would turn off the water of your shower or your bath and stand up if you're in a bath, or grab your bucket and pour it over your body from the neck down. The salt water should never go over your head. That's a real taboo experience because your crown is the communication to your spirits. Your head is very sacred, and you have to be very, very careful with head work. Having people randomly touch your head is also a no-no in my ancestral practice. And that's why practitioners in my ancestral practice will always wrap their heads with a white scarf. And it's to symbolize purity and lack of confusion and protection there as well. And once you're finished with that salt bath, make sure you've poured it all over yourself. You need to allow yourself to air dry. You drip through the house to where you have your altar. You light your candle and you say your words to your guardian spirits, to your guides, ancestors. For me, it's the Odisha. I speak to all of them all the time. And you sit there until you're dry. You sit there and you hold prayer and you hold focus and you just purge a little bit. You purge the frustration of not feeling connected. You purge the frustration of feeling discombobulated. You can purge and speak. And you can do this inside your mind. You can whisper it out loud. If you're the type that likes to murmur, I don't know, it just feels a little bit more physical for me.
Yeah.
And then you walk away and you let it burn. You let that candle burn all the way through and you're good to go.
I love daily card pulls. For years, this was a way that I actually formed quite a solid practice. I started through this simple practice to build that feeling that I was practicing daily. Because I know that's something a lot of witches in the beginning have, that feeling like, I want to be doing daily practice, but it's difficult and ritual and all the things, which is why we're sharing these more simple things with you. But a daily card pull, or it could be any form of divination, really, whatever you like. I just love tarot and oracle. That's also a really great way to build your knowledge in that area of divination too, in just such a simple little thing every day, rather than doing a whole huge study and feeling like it's this big, overwhelming topic. Break it down, 5 minutes a day. And over time, you'll come to really become intimate with that form of divination. And the other little tip I wanted to give is something I've done as well myself, is just to read a little something witchy every day. This is for our book readers, our air people, people who love this. But this can be, again, tiny, a small passage, 5 minutes, a page, a chapter, whatever you want it to be. But when you are feeling really disconnected from your craft and like you just don't even know how to get back in again, sometimes leaning into that book witchery for that little bit of inspiration in the morning or whenever it happens to be is a really great way to get back into it as well.
Yeah, I think that's a really good point, Owlvine. And fiction as well as nonfiction.
Fiction, absolutely.
Fiction can be such an igniting experience because there's a lot of imagination that goes into fiction writing. And there are many beautiful witchy novels as well, you know, specifically focused on the witchy aspects. So you can get a bit of a power up, a bit of a dopamine hit. Or nonfiction. There are some great nonfiction books. And at some point we will do a book recommendation. But just looping back to something that Owlvine said, I'm a bit of a tarot reader myself. And I would say that the morning practice is absolutely essential, but you can marry that with an evening practice as well if you like. And there's a really simple way in which you can do this that isn't cumbersome, and it relies solely on your ability to connect with your intuition and to interpret the image. Now, for this, you will actually need a pictorial card or deck, right? Something of the Rider or the Thoth system would be great, right? And you pull a card in the morning and you just take a nice deep breath and you look at that card and you jot down 3, 4, 5, as many as you want. This card made me feel this. This card made me feel that. This card reminded me of this. When I pulled this card, I felt a sensation in my body here. And then you locate that and then you write that down as well. And then you put that card on your altar, just leave it out there, go about your day, do everything that you need to do. And in the evening, you come back and you look at that card and try to marry all the ways in which your initial sort of brain dump, if you will, about that card connected with the day. And slowly and surely, you'll find your own language with the tarot if you do this over and over again. All right. We've also got the concept of ancestral activation, ancestral whispering. Why connecting with lineage, either blood or spiritual, can rekindle inspiration. Do you want to take us into the conversation?
When we work with our ancestors, working with them and also simply researching, if we're right at the start of our journey, it's a really great way to open your craft. Most of us have lineage in more than one country. Not all of us. There are different roads you can go down here with this. And we do, as people, have an innate curiosity about our past, about who our people were. I think part of this is the displacement that a lot of people experience now as modern humans moving all over the world. Moving into ancestral exploration, let's say, can really give you a clearer idea of who you are. And it is a great way to just launch inspiration for your magical practice. It may be something that you end up incorporating or not, but you will learn something about yourself. I think I can almost guarantee that by exploring your ancestry, there will be something that comes to you, even if it's healing. We're going to talk a little bit soon about blood ancestors versus spiritual ancestors. But I just want to say here that you don't ever have to work with an ancestor that you don't want to. If you had a terrible grandfather or a horrible mother or whatever, you don't have to work with them spiritually. They're not invited in, and that's okay. If you have a difficult familial relationship, whether it is that or adoption or whatever it might be, you can bypass these things and you can connect with ancestors. I have found the most profound connection, I would say, honestly, with my grandma, but beyond that, with ancestors that I've never met. That's definitely a possibility there too.
I think when it comes to ancestral work, you start small. If you remember an ancestor that's passed away and they were kind to you and you had a good rapport with them, absolutely start there. You can start with the familiar and then slowly you can build up to the less familiar. But I would say research your name, your maiden name, your proper name, your surname. Where does it come from? What does it mean? What's your heritage? You know, your parents can often fill in the blanks for you, or your grandparents can sometimes fill in the blanks for you. Like I'm a Cameron, for instance, and I know that Cameron means crooked nose. I know that it's a Scottish Highlander name. I know I have a Celtic clan badge and a tartan and all of that because my family has taken the time, especially on my father's side, which is my Scottish side, has taken the time to go and research and discover our genealogy and really explore that. And my baby sister, she is obsessed with creating the family tree. You might find that you have some of these people in your life that can be incredible resources for you to tap into. And if it happens that you are adopted and therefore you have no concept of your true name or your lineage per se, then you can now do more DNA-based tests to find out sort of like your DNA lineage. And there are options now that never existed, 5-10 years ago. There are many ways in which you can gently, carefully, and constructively connect with your ancestors. And I do believe that it is important to honor your ancestors, to understand where you've come from, and to understand the qualities that you've inherited from the people that came before you. You are a beautiful cocktail of a human made up from many, many different bloodlines. And just honoring that in and of itself can be truly, truly powerful for you.
I think that's a great point, is the power aspect. There is something, even if you're at the beginning of your ancestor practice, working with your ancestors spiritually brings a lot of spiritual power. They move in the spiritual for you. All of a sudden you have this backing. Here's the thing. I believe that we're all born with spirits and spirit helpers. They're always around us and there, but we have to ask for the help. Much of the time, not always, but they're probably not going to intervene if you're not asking for what you want. You need to call them in and give them that direction. Next, we're going to talk about the language of symbols. This is relearning the old ways of reading omens in nature through your dreams and chance encounters. For me, synchronicity is a huge part of living a magical life. It is one of the things that helps me feel connected. And I believe it, for myself, it is the main way that my spirits give me messages. They work through synchronicity. I will ask for something, guidance on a particular subject, let's say, and through little bits and pieces, the answer always comes. It might be through seeing a particular bird. I have a personal relationship with a few different birds around here. They mean different things to me. It might be something like that. It could be something that someone says, a snatch of a song, or I pick up a book and just this sentence jumps out at me, or a herb will fall off my shelf onto my altar. And I'm like, oh, okay. Getting in touch with this, learning how to read the different signs and omens around you. What do these different animals mean? What do these different signs and synchronicities mean? I think this is something that's developed slowly over time, though, as well. Some people can kind of freak out and be like, what do all these things mean? And they're searching for meaning, everything. I think it's one of those things to to sit with. And over time, you start to learn the language. If you're a dreamer, keeping a dream journal can really help with this, or even just your divination practice as well. The different symbols that you see in tarot cards or whatever, if you see those around you, they can be signs. But not everything is a sign, is it, Miss Avalon?
Not everything is a sign, but what constitutes a sign cannot be discerned by anyone other than the self, which is where the complication can start. The essence of good omen reading starts with very, very good grounding. The more grounded you are, the more aware you will be, and the more in tune you will be to the subtleties of these synchronicities. Because omens can be such gentle guides if you let them, or they can be like a traffic jam. That can be a thing. Or they can be, I can't find my keys in the morning. You know, it's really important to sort of stay as centered and as grounded as you can be, because I have a little practice in which if I can't find the keys in the morning, I stop and I wait at least 10 minutes. Because I'm one of those people, I keep my keys in the same place all the time. I keep my phone in the same place all the time. I know where these objects are all the time. They have a special place. If for whatever reason I'm about to get out the door and my keys aren't where I left them, I will stop. I will actually sit down and I will go. I don't care how late I am for an appointment. I feel like my omens, my guides are telling me to just stop for a minute or just pause for a minute. And a couple of times that has led to really good outcomes for me. I always make sure that I listen, especially when things are out of the ordinary. Yesterday, Owlvine and I were talking about how she saw something on the internet about a lady posting on the socials. This branch was in my driveway. What does it mean? And it created this nice conversation between us about context. Because if you live in a place that is surrounded by trees, a branch in your driveway isn't necessarily anything. It could just be a stiff wind brought it down. But if you live in a concrete jungle and there are no trees around whatsoever, and you look left and you look right and you're like, where did this come from? It's a little bit different. Because these signs, these symbols can be very subtle, or other times they can be outside of the realm of what is commonly aligned for us. If we're used to seeing the same thing over and over again, and all of a sudden that one thing is different, that's something to pay attention to. And sometimes the subtleties are just an invitation to pay closer attention, to be a little bit more aware of your surroundings, of how you're feeling internally, and work with that, because there are times where a lot is actually being shown to us, and yet we're staring at our phones, we're not paying attention, we're not connected, we're not grounded, we're not centered, and all of this stuff is going by us in a way that makes it very difficult then to try and connect and discern what the original message was. I think one of the fundamentals is to just be very grounded, very centered, and pay close attention. I have a no phone outside of home policy sort of vibes. If I'm at the shopping center and I'm waiting in line, I'm not looking at my phone, I'm looking around. If I'm out in nature, my phone is in my back pocket. I might have my AirPods in on low, but I've got ambient sound activated and I'm looking around and I'm paying attention. Aside from being a woman and that being a good thing to do in this day and age, is to always look around and be very aware of where you are and what's around you. It's an aspect of showing respect to the Great Mother. That's how I see it. You're on this beautiful planet. It gives us much, and just watch it. You know, just watch what happens when you start paying attention. You start to find things. You start to find treasures. You can find beautiful, beautiful treasures that you might never have found had you not begun to pay closer attention.
I love that. And I just wanted to highlight, for me, it is the something happening that's out of the ordinary That's very important. And for me, that's also married with a feeling. It comes over time as well as you get comfortable with the spiritual, but there's a feeling too. It's not just anything. But I think also what you said was really great is when you do receive a sign or an omen, particularly if you're unsure, just have patience, because when I'm in these modes of synchronicity, often it's not clear. It's like 10 different things have come my way and I'm like, okay, something's unraveling here. I don't know what it is, but it is that paying attention to self.
We come in now to ritual as play, how approaching magic with curiosity rather than rigidity can reignite passion. And this was a really, really big one, because I feel like when you first connect with the craft, at least this is my observed experience. I was raised in a tradition. This is my observed experience and my information that's been handed to me over the many years that I've been holding circles and hosting covens and all of that. And it's that you begin at 100 every time, right? You like, oh my God, I found witchcraft. And now I want to know everything. And it's a beautiful, exciting, high vibration experience. But in that moment, I don't think you realize just how much information you do accumulate in such a short amount of time. Because the moment you dive into witchcraft, you feel as though you're behind. Once that glaze and that shine wears off, you're just like, oh my God, everyone knows more than me. And it's that comparative mindset that can really bring shit down for you. But just understand this, when you're walking your path, it can be as fast or as patient as you need it to be. If ritual was once your thing, like it was for me, I used to love the elaborate nature of constructing incredible rituals with multiple people. You know, I've hosted rituals with 50, 60 people. And the idea of that now in my practice, I feel like breaking out in hives at the thought of it. It's about seasons. It's about honoring your seasons as well. Would I host another big gathering? Maybe I would in the future. But right now, it's all about the intimacy of my practice, not being rigid with how it is that I create sacred space. Once upon a time, sacred space looked the same. It was either casting a circle or setting a perimeter or dragging everything outside and setting it up in a particular way or saying specific words and just having almost like a script and a process and a protocol to adhere to. Whereas now, if it's the full moon, I just stand out underneath it. I just look up and I say some things. Sometimes I don't. I just let it hit me. New moon. I always like to write a little petition at the new moon. Just a little something to fortify the work that I'm currently working on or goals that I might have. And then I either burn it or I slip it into a journal, and I keep it super simple. And simplicity with intention is the subtle magic that many of us need when we are suffering burnout, when we have no energy, when we are feeling a lack of connection. Simplicity with intention. It could be sitting with your journal on the ground or on a chair outside and just brain dumping, just writing anything and everything that comes to mind. Like, it can be a very gentle and yet very meaningful experience if you can embrace that. And remember, there is a time for rigidity. There's a time where if you make a pact with your goddess or your god or an ancestor, for instance, you have to be rigid about that. You have to follow through. You have to put the pound cake for Saint Expedite. You have to put the glass of liquor out to the ancestors or the tobacco offerings. You do have to do those things. They are things to be rigid to, because you are fulfilling an obligation, not to yourself, but to someone else in that instance. That's about the only time I would say that I'm truly rigid within my own craft. How would you say you work with that, Owlvine?
I love that. I think ritual as play, or introducing a playful aspect to the craft, your craft, really helps to open you. Being playful with it opens you to possibilities, being experimental, being the mad scientist.
Yes.
Adding in these different things, keeping it simple or going in a completely different direction. whatever it might be. I've found for myself, and it's going to be different for everyone, but chaos magic is really fun for this one. So if you're wanting to introduce some serious play into your rituals, into your magic, just have a little look at what the chaos magic world has to offer, because there's some really, really fun ideas for just getting outside of that box, removing all the blockages, and just opening up your craft again.
Yeah, absolutely. Play has a lot. You can actually engage in craft as well. Get some friends over and make something witchy. Like it could be mead, it could be mulled wine. While everyone's just getting into the spirit of crafting something, you can be the witch that imbues the intention into it. You don't even have to let people know that you're throwing prayers in there. You don't have to let them know that you've whispered an incantation over your herbs and your ingredients and your wine. You just have to be the witch at work there, and then let everybody consume that beautiful magic and feel the reciprocity of that experience.
Beautiful.
Yeah. And that brings us to, let's keep a book. The art of note keeping. I think it's very important. A witch's notebook, the lost art of slow craft, keeping a grimoire as a living document, not a performance. I think the not as a performance part comes in large part to the fact that we're living in a social media era. And there are times where not every part of our craft needs to be on camera. While witchcraft has had to learn to smile at the camera, there are certain aspects of our craft that should always remain private. There are parts of my craft that I absolutely cannot put online. There's just things within witchcraft that are not okay for the eyes of everyone. That's what I'll say. Keeping a grimoire is a way of conscious record keeping. And it can be very, very difficult for people like me who is neurodivergent. I love the concept of buying a new notebook. I have many new notebooks, but it's committing to showing up on the page every day. There are practices tried and true that have been around for a very long time. These are such things as morning pages. You can sit there and you can simply brain dump. You can make listicles until the cows come home. There are ways in which you can document your craft, and there are ways that you can do in digital format if paper-based note keeping is not for you. I'm a note person. I'll get my best and fanciest fountain pen and my nicest journal, and I will note take, I will write. I love the aspect of actively writing. I think it's really beautiful, and I think it connects itself to the concept of a spell. A spell is a spoken word. A spell can be also a written word. The concept of writing, I believe it to be incredibly magical. But there is just those out there, those witches who don't have the time, who don't like their handwriting, who have very good reasons why a paper-based note system is not for them. And there are tons and tons of digital options that you can use to make something truly beautiful. But I think the essence of it is something that Owlvine can personally speak to. We were talking a little bit about this yesterday, and her and I, we've been prolific note takers for I have been for my whole life. Forever. And I would say that find a system that works for you and stick with that system is the best way. And don't ever be scared to evolve that system.
Yes.
Owlvine, why don't you tell us about the crux, the feels of keeping a beautiful grimoire or a magical journal or a beautiful, sort of witch's notebook?
Well, at the beginning of my practice, I tried to keep a beautiful book of shadows, a beautiful grimoire. I started several different kinds of them. I want to pull on what you just said there. Experiment. Don't be afraid to experiment and try different things and let your process work itself out over time. I've had like folders and books that I've gessoed over and then painted, and beautiful notebooks and all of this, and they all felt too intimidating to me or didn't quite work for whatever reason. Now I have these very ugly books that I'll share, which you guys can't see unless you're looking. They're literally what I needed because I didn't want to be precious. was a notebook that I could beat up, right? And then I've got these 5 subject notebooks because my brain is quite chaotic. I've broken them into different sections and it makes it much easier. I have probably 5 or 6 of these now. And I can look at them and say, oh, in this first section here, I've got all my spells written down. If there's a spell that I'm looking for, that's where I'll go. Then I've got a Book of Shadows section. That's more like a journal, right? A magical journal where I'll write whatever it is that I'm feeling or something I've experienced, whatever it might be. Then I've got a formula section. This is for my recipes. This can be other people's recipes I see that I want to make note of or ones that I make myself. And then I've got just a magical study section in this one. Every book is different though, in terms of my 5-page binders. The only thing I say, this works well for me because my brain's chaotic. If you're someone that relates to this on any level, it might be something that works for you as well. It's not that pretty, but when I pick these books up, they're powerful and magical to me. And I want everyone to love them as much as I do, but I know they're ugly. But doing this has allowed me to move more easily through my record keeping. There might be times where I'm not doing much record keeping, and when a book gets a little bit too messy and crazy, like I realized has happened to me, then I'll get a new one and I'll sort of start the process, not afresh because it's all here, all the original things. It's new stuff going in there. But I did find last night for this podcast, I wanted, or maybe the next one we're doing, I wanted to grab a few recipes and I have been struggling to find them. My way of record keeping is not foolproof. It's not my big suggestion to people, but if you're someone that kind of moves this way, who is stopped by perfection, has a perfectionism issue, or just has a chaotic mind that wants to explore all the things, something like this might be helpful for you.
Absolutely. I will take it even one step further, right? Because I have horrendous ADHD. I also have dyslexia and dyscalculia. And what I have to do is, this is my brain dump book. I am a notebook person because I need continuity. I just need it to be continuous, right? I need to have all my books on the shelf. I have about 11 of these at present. But what I do is I will just get a book like this and I will fill it up. Like I've got sigils in here. I've got all sorts of things, right? And once I've finished the entry, I will tab it with a particular color that associate, for example, sigils. I'll have my sigils are in green and I will tab other things in pink or blue. I just keep the little tabs in there that I can remember exactly where is what and if it's the thing that I need. I found out the other day that one started in 2019. I've had it for a minute. But it's got a lot in there, even things that might just be like somebody's phone number. It's in there as well. And the context of that is in there as well. It really is, but predominantly magic. Find your way. You can actively entertain yourself for an inordinate amount of time should you decide to go onto YouTube and type the words journaling or note-taking, or even, dare I say it, scrapbooking.
Oh.
I like to keep it simple, pen, notebook. But other people have artistic talents and qualities that mean that they can actively do more, and therefore you should. If you're an arty witch, this will definitely be for you. If you're one of those witches that is very techno-based and very into your electronics, digital formats might be best for you. And if you're somewhere in between, then just experimenting with those systems can be helpful.
Okay, moving on from that, what's one small magical practice from folklore that feels deeply potent for you, Avalon, and why?
Small practice from folklore. Resetting my ancestral altar. We do it in a very particular way. Ancestral altars should always be, I say should for myself and in my own practice, not you should. Mine should. We always have to cover it with a white cloth, and we have to find the motifs, the images, the ephemera that belong to our ancestors. I'm a bit of a hoarder for things like that. I have things from my great-grandparents. I have beautiful things that were hand-painted by my great-great-grandmother in Brazil, and setting those up and having my tobacco offerings and having my drink offerings and my cakes and ales kind of vibe. And I think that just clearing it off, it doesn't have to be my ancestral altar. It can just be my altar. Sometimes, the resetting, the regeneration, the anointing, the cleansing, the clearing of things can be potent.
I
It
agree.
really can, especially if you find yourself in the mood. Like I lost about an hour and 40 minutes this morning working with hyssop to cleanse the house. And it was just such a beautiful, meaningful, I was into the moment. And while it was simple and it was small, yes, it was still deeply, deeply meaningful. I think cleansing, clearing, resetting your altar spaces, nothing can feel better, I find, than resetting an altar, like dusting everything,
Yeah.
anointing your magical tools, grabbing that abramelin oil and, like smearing all over the good stuff, shifting around. I do this because I'm a tarot collector, but I like to rotate my decks. I typically work with 4 or 5 tarot and 4 or 5 oracle at a time, and I'll work with them for months, and then I'll tuck them away, and then I'll get a whole new rotation of decks out. It's a refreshing experience, I think. It's small, it's practical, it's very easily doable. It's such a good vibe.
It's the spring energy, isn't it? It's like
It
a good
gives you
spring
that spring
clean.
energy. Like once upon a time, I would say that I changed my altar setup for every Sabbat. That was right back when I was in my neo-pagan phase, and I wanted to really heavily incorporate the wheel of the year into my practice. I would say, well, the autumnal energy is there. I will work with that. And same with Samhain and on with Litha and on and on and on. And I would find myself consistently changing. But what I discovered very quickly is that I got well set up with that, because I don't know if you know, but there are a lot of festivals in the Wheel of 8, right? There's 8 of them. No, it's every
6 weeks. It's not much to change a whole altar up, especially if you have a larger, more elaborate space.
multiple altars, which I tend to have. And even in my tiny little home, I tend to have outdoor altars, indoor altars, social altars, working altars, for deity altars. Like imagine, I gave myself a bit of anxiety just thinking about it. What say you? What's something small?
Well, I definitely want to say yes to both of those for sure. I think for myself, there's no better kickstart energy for my practice than going through and really getting that altar nice and shiny. And I'm like you as well. I used to change them a lot more often. I don't think I've ever kept up. I've certainly never done a whole year of following the sabbats on my altar in terms of changing it completely. But now actually stays pretty the same. There's a few things that move in and out, but mostly it's the same. Anyway, resetting that is beautiful. New decks, all of that. But something I really love to do that I've found profound levels of connection by doing is feeding my spirits. There are a myriad of ways that this can be done. The practice that I began with that really helped me to, I guess, make this a consistent practice is just doing water offerings. It was one water offering. It was like my spirits in general. I had a little bowl and I would place that on my altar. And in the beginning, when I was doing it, I was refreshing that every single day. And that was my little daily practice. And then it moved to a week. And then it moved to multiple, like everyone's got this, that, and that happening. Now I do things like liquor as well, smoke, depending on burning a herb or a blend or something like that. It can be trinkets and objects, something found outside or something bought specifically, or just something on the shelf that seems to call and, be wanted by a particular spirit. But by doing these simple acts, giving your offerings, and it doesn't even have to be a physical thing. It could be a prayer. It could be a song. It could be picking up rubbish in a park. Like there are really many options. It's with intention. Like we've said a few times, everything with intention. If you do it with intention, it's a thing. But doing this actually forms such a strong bond between you and that spirit, whoever it might be. And for myself, I found it it's almost like building the power beforehand. You put in your however many weeks you're doing of these offerings, and then you come to the point where you want to work with the spirit on something magical. that connection you'll have with them through the offerings is incredible. I think that's a really important one, and something that's simple as well.
Exactly. I think you should always feed your spirits full stop, whether you're asking something or not. And I honestly think that you should be feeding those spirits for a good period of time before you even come to them with a problem that you need solving.
It will be much more powerful if that's the case. for sure.
Otherwise, it's just like knocking on the door of a stranger going, "Hey, I've got a problem. Can you help me?"
And they're like, I don't know you. I don't
Yeah.
care.
We have no rapport. Like, well,
Yeah.
build up that friendship, build up that experience, understand what it's like to feel their presence around you when you're laying out an offering. I think the tactile component of spirit work and ancestral practices and feeding spirits full stop is like there's a tactile component to it. You can feel when spirits around. My family, we have a psychic sense of smell. Whenever we smell tobacco smoke, and this has been happening since we were very little, all my sisters and I, we've had experiences where we've sensed the smell of tobacco. We're non-smokers. The scent of pure tobacco too, pipe tobacco. And you know exactly who's visiting you. That's something that would get us all together going, tobacco, and, like there's a beautiful experience to be explored there.
There is. I've actually had that with both of my grandparents. Their sense, and I've never seen before or since, my grandparents have been dead for a long time, but I've had it through the years where I'll just smell my grandfather and I'm like, whoa, he's here. Or my grandmother. It's really, really powerful, that scent.
I'll tell you one that gets people a bit upset from time to time is that one of my Odisha, he's a warrior and he likes the first sip of my beer. I fucking love beer. I love it. Okay. I always drink a beer, especially in summertime. Every glass of beer I have, a little goes on the ground. Inside the house, outside the house, it's a pain in the ass because the floor gets sticky, but it's got to go on the ground. And I would say another one is, and we were talking about this one yesterday, is I like to carry coins in the car with me. This is super simple, very folk magic as well. And when you find yourself getting stuck a lot, like getting all the red lights, or when you're in a traffic jam that just seems to come out of nowhere, or you're stuck in one of those situations where like the roadworks are out of control and therefore you feel suspended in animation necessary for a time that is just inconvenient to you, right? That's when you throw out a coin. Here in Australia, we have our smallest denomination of coin is a 5-cent piece. And you throw a 5-cent piece out your window. You can. Very nice.
We demonstration people.
She just held up a 5-cent. Throwing one out of your window as you're driving on a long road, it feeds the road spirits. You can feed crossroad spirits. You can feed cul-de-sac spirits. You can just feed the road spirits. The more you feed your road spirits, the less accident prone you'll be, the more aware you'll be as you drive, especially if you take the same route to work or to school or to wherever you're going every day, to the supermarket. You know the places that you typically go, you should feed those roads. I'm using the word should a lot. It sounds bossy, but please excuse me.
Whatever your practice is, I hope people come to understand that we're sharing our practice in the hopes of inspiring everyone to pursue their own practice and make it whatever it is that they want it to be.
100%. Yeah. Well, we have another little question here to explore. And how do we distinguish between tradition and dogma in our craft? Now, this question came about because when we experience these spiritual slumps, when we experience these disconnects, there are times where dogma can actually get in the way. It can cause blockages, it can cause restrictions, it can cause apprehension as well, especially in the case of those witches who have come from a more Abrahamic religion. A lot can come with you when you come from an Abrahamic religion into pure, undiluted witchcraft, folk magic, if you will. And you start small there. You can bring a lot with you. And a lot of it you don't really realize that you've brought with you. But religion can have a weight to it, and it can touch a lot of personal belief systems within your own life, let alone the beliefs that you have around deity and divinity and the big one, hell and heaven. It's really, really important to distinguish what it is that you've brought across with you, if that is your story, for instance, but also allowing rigidity to enter your life can equate to a bit of dogma. If you have OCD, you can't help it, okay? You can't help doing the same thing over and over again in a very specific way and feeling like you're going to lose your mind if some step falls out of line, okay? That's not what we're talking about here. We're talking about dogma, the thing that feels heavy. It's almost like someone standing over you, telling you how to practice your craft, telling you things like, that's not how you do it. You're not good enough. You don't have the skills necessary to do that. Or just, this is how you do this. This is how you do that. That is how you do that. You're doing that wrong. There's a lot of that happens anyway in witchcraft, I feel. Like there's a lot of just, I wouldn't even know what to call it. What's the word that I'm looking for here, Owlvine? There's a lot of, on one side, it's a lot of gatekeeping. On the other side, it's a lot of authoritative kind of content.
Bossiness, even. You said that
Yeah.
before. Bossiness.
Yeah, it's a bit bossy.
Yeah.
And I would say, as far as dogma goes, just look to where it comes from. Everything has an origin point, and sometimes it can just bleed out from one point into your practice in a really interesting way. But if you follow those little veins and those little, currents all the way back to the original point, you'll find that it came from here.
Yeah.
And a little personal excavation, a little personal autonomy, some responsibility, and a little bit of healing work can help to dismantle that as well.
Absolutely. I think that healing thing is a big part of it, right? If we are not aware of a thing, it's affecting us and we don't even know it. Becoming aware of the thing, know thyself, that is what it's all about. There are definitely spaces for tradition within a practice, even that is being created by oneself. The dogma feels heavy, it feels rigid, it feels closed, whereas tradition is something that can actually grow with you. It's not something that has that rigidity necessarily. Tradition is something that can be a really powerful part of your craft, like having your things that you consistently do or your core beliefs or whatever those might be. It's a powerful way to ground your practice and to feel connected to it as well. But just making sure that you're not putting those blockages in for yourself, or rather identifying where the blockages are to remove them and open that space up for yourself.
That's a really good point. Being self-aware within your practice. Just as we were saying before, when you're out in nature and looking for omens, it's important to be aware of your surroundings. It's just as important to be self-aware. I think too many of us are walking through life completely oblivious. I think I have reached a point where I've focused on this for long enough and I'm still not great at it. It does take time. Like I've been trying to be self-aware for 20 years. I've done therapy. I've done shadow work. I've done personal healing journeys, shamanic journeys. I've done all sorts of work to be more connected to myself, to be more self-aware, to understand my processes, my protocols, and my proclivities as well. The 3 Ps. So the more conscious you are of what comes out of your mouth or what ideas float into your mind in association to your practice, the better you will be at picking up these little slips and these little faux pas when they happen, because it's all about expression, right? Raw, undiluted, authentic expression. But there are times when you're in this moment and a feeling can crop up that you don't have a container for. And it can be very, very challenging to go, well, where did that come from? You might be having a great time and suddenly a little hook comes in, a little twinge of anxiety going, I didn't like how that felt. Something felt not quite right. And it can actually ruin the vibe of your entire experience if you allow it to. Being self-aware can be incredibly potent for your practice, and it can really disarm that dogma that's trying to it like calcify. I find it to be like the calcification of a fluid practice. Here's one for you guys. Can magic ever be too simple? Where's the line between minimalism and dilution?
For me, I don't think magic is ever inherently too simple. I think it really depends what energy you bring to what you're doing or what intention you're bringing to what you're doing. There is a saying that goes around that whatever we do as witches is magical. When you're moving in the mundane, it's magical because you're a witch. But in reality, everything you do has the opportunity to be magical, but it's not necessarily. If you're not bringing that intention to it, it's just a mundane task.
Exactly.
You don't have to include any objects even to work powerful magic, but the energy intention must be there.
100%. I would say that intention is absolutely everything. Anything can be truly magical with the right intention, with that right reverence, with that right meaning, with context behind it. And I think that, simple magic is truly beautiful. Minimalistic magic is truly beautiful. You don't have to have all the things. You don't have to have all the ephemera. I'm reminding myself of this while I'm here. I have set up an altar. In a predominantly Catholic house, I have set up an altar, a witch's altar. And I've just dried herbs and decorated it and I have an altar. It's very simple. It's on top of a cutting board. There's 2 candles, there's a statue, there's herbs, there's crystal, there's oils, there's smoke cleansing bundles, there's witchcraft on there. I'm looking at it. And it was simple. I think we're in agreement, right? It's a matter of intention. And I think that sometimes you can feel like something is less magical by how modern it looks. I was talking to Owlvine about this yesterday. I'm of the opinion that whenever you move house, you should always take a new broom in with you, right? It's a superstitious thing, right? Broom work is fantastic. May do an episode on it one day. But whenever I move into a new house, I have to sigil that shit up and I have to smoke cleanse it and I have to anoint it and it has to rest before I can use it, right? It's simple. It's an Oats brand broom. If you want to sponsor me, Oats, that'll be great. But in all fairness, I do this with my Kmart mop. I pour a bit of Florida water in there, some oils, a few herbs, make a little tea. And then I herbal wash my floor with this very modern contraption. Yes, it is using the modern in a way that has intention and that does the job that I need it to do, essentially. I think it can be minimalistic and still be very meaningful. And honestly, folks, if you've taken nothing away from this conversation, learn how to create sigils and then put them on everything. Your shoes, your brooms, your windowsills, your doors, absolutely everything. Find all those beautiful sigils for yourself. Learn how to create them for yourself because they are just the simplest form of magic. You can draw a sigil with your spit and your finger. They are some of the best
accessible
magic.
Yes.
All right.
Dearest witches, we are moving into our second segment now, the Witch's Apothecary, Elixir, Herb, Stone, and Bone. Last week, we introduced the herb hyssop, and we'll be sharing our results and experiences with hyssop next week, and we have some things to share. Today, we've chosen a gemstone. You guys know that we've chosen the aventurine crystal, so now we're going to ritually prepare that.
Yes, we are.
And we are going elemental.
We're definitely going to try.
We have our various things behind the scene here. We have a candle, which I need to light mine still. And we have some herbs to burn. And you know what? I actually just realized I was going to go and pick rosemary and lavender this morning for this, and I forgot. I will have to get that afterwards, and you guys will just have to trust that I'm going to use some magical herbs.
My protection candle has just caught like fire.
I was wondering because you just went kind of red there, like that light's coming off it. That's insane. Wow.
Like she's on proper fire.
Okay.
I'm going to take a photo that you can sort of like feel the vibe. She's magnificent. Okay.
She's working.
Yesterday, when we decided to do this, I've only got one candle holder. I bought this pumpkin. Look at this. It's a pumpkin spice
Yum, yum.
chai candle. I'm just like, aside from it smelling delicious, and it smells delicious. I've got this little bee dish that I don't make a mess, and plus I'm in the bee zone right now. I've got my crystal, and then I've got my magic oil, and then I have the little smoke cleansing bundle that I made from herbs from the garden. This one includes eucalypt, Mexican bush sage, and fumitory, holy smoke, or earth smoke, I should say.
Beautiful. I've got a rosemary from my garden here. Beautiful. That, and then we're using our creativity oil. I want to let you, well, should we talk about the creativity oil just for a minute? This stuff, okay,
Yeah.
for both of us has just been off the charts. Like, our creativity has exploded. Every time I have a 5-minute conversation with Avalon, she's got like 12 new ideas that is awesome that we have to incorporate. It's just flowing right now. For myself, what I've found, you guys know, I put in a lot of channeling energy into this oil, and it's been fucking with me a little bit. Our song that I've been working on has been haunting me. It will literally play through my head at night while I'm trying to sleep. I'm having issues with sleep because I'm having all these things come through. But I'm finding in my waking life that I've got so much energy for creativity right now. Like, things are pouring out. This stuff is just potent and incredible. But last night I decided to add in a mallow root, which those of you on YouTube may or may not be able to see clearly in here, but I needed that grounding. I've added that in there. This oil is off the chain. If you guys need this creativity in your life, please make yourself your own creativity oil as well, because wow, we are having incredible results with it. We're going to add that onto the beautiful aventurine crystal today as well.
I need to sort this candle out though, because I'm about to start a fire.
Which is one of the dangers of witchcraft, right?
You will always set something on fire.
It's true. Your hair, your house, it'll be something.
I have here my oil, my smoke, my saliva, my crystal, and my flame.
Very nice.
I contemplated bringing salt into the equation, and then I thought against it.
I actually do have some salt. Mine's, I don't know if you can see this, Himalayan crystal salts, rocks.
Very nice.
I just felt really drawn to that. Himalayan salt has a different energy for me than regular salt. Well, they all have a bit of a different energy, I suppose, but the Himalayan pink salt, for me, I find it's a good cleanser, but there's really something with the heart chakra as well for me. Yes, I think, that gorgeous color that it has. I just felt like it would be a really nice pairing for the aventurine.
I typically like to submerge my crystals. When I get a new crystal, I typically put it in a jar, much like this, but generally bigger, and just fill it with rock salt, usually Himalayan salt or Celtic sea salt. And I leave it there for 3 days. I find that it really strips away the unwanted energy. It returns it to the earth a little bit for a moment there. It can have that regeneration. And then I remove it, then I can work with it. I can program it.
I like that.
Now that I'm holding it, she feels nice.
It's a beautiful crystal. It was actually my very first crystal that I ever had. Not this one specifically, but I was gifted aventurine, and it's beautiful.
Oh.
And versatile, as we discovered going through our notes.
Actually, that would make a really good community question. If you're listening or watching, what was the first crystal you ever acquired? And if you want to share that story, share it away, because I'd love to hear what it was. Mine was a fluorite, and I loved that thing. It was my only crystal in Australia for the longest time, and I had it in a little bag, and I would carry it with me everywhere I went. It was very pointy. It was polished point. What was yours? Was aventurine, wasn't it?
A little tumbled aventurine, which I actually did try and find, but I think it's in a spell bag somewhere at the moment. It's
Very
gone off
nice.
somewhere. But that was a gift. That really made sense to me when I went through the properties of it. This is the thing. If you get a herb or an ingredient or a crystal coming at you, there's always a reason. There's always a
Yeah,
medicine in it for
agreed.
you, right?
Agreed. Oh my gosh. All right. Shall we work it?
Yes.
Okay. I'm going to warm mine to the
That is funny. I'm just doing that too.
I figure I'll show you. Maybe I'll tilt my camera a little bit so that you can
That's a good
actively
idea.
see. There we go. Oh, look, you can see.
Maybe I should do the same, hey?
Nothing fancy. If I was in my own space, this wouldn't be the candle, just so you know. Oh, that's nice. That feels good. That feels very, very good. Okay, I'll just use my saliva. It tastes like oil, like, magical oil.
Your saliva?
No, the crystal. I am going to, this is why I needed the little, oh, she's catching fire pretty quick.
We've got those flames going.
Look at this. Look at how beautiful that is. I made this little smudge just yesterday.
Gorgeous.
I was frightened that the eucalyptus might be a little too oily yet, but I think it's doing what it needs to do. Bringing in that beautiful earth smoke energy. A little bit of air as well.
Hey, I'm about to light my rosemary up, right? We're going to see how this goes. I've got my cauldron here just in case.
Very
Oh,
nice.
it's going well. Beautiful. Look at that. Yes.
I think I can get a bit more smoke out of this one. Oh. It feels nice.
Mm.
My little bundle feels nice. Good for me.
Good for you. And all your wild crafting.
I know, she's tiny. I wanted to make it a smaller one because bigger smoking bundles can be a bit of a commitment.
That's true. All right, I'm laying my crystal down now in this bowl of rock salt or Himalayan rocks. Later, I'm going to surround this with rosemary, fresh rosemary, and fresh lavender as well.
Very nice. Okay, I have got a bit of the Cootamundra wattle that I want to use.
We are going to be exploring wattle, just a little Easter egg. We're going to be exploring wattle as a magical herb very soon. Both of us have been playing with that lately.
This is about the only botanical I have right now.
Everything you've been gathering from the garden and drying up a storm.
Exactly.
I'm actually setting my candle in the rocks as well to burn right next to. Oh, yeah, that's nice.
Very nice. Very nice. Okay, and I'm going to just put a little drop of our oil. Oh, look. I have a key.
Ah.
I'm just going to use the key to drop. Oh, perfect. It was the right amount of oil. I've been talking to everyone about this manic oil that I made, and everyone wants some. All the girls, all the witches want some. And it's like one little match head's worth.
It's potent stuff.
Right. I'm just going to let this bask now.
Mm.
It's got a little bit of oil there. I better put this in my hair otherwise.
Sure.
Careful.
Careful.
Not whatnot. And I should also add that, that looks nice.
Candles very precarious. Be careful, witches, when playing with candles.
I've set so much stuff on fire over the years. Many things. Tables,
Cloths.
tea towels.
Yeah, nails. I wear fake nails. I've melted nails.
Oh, yeah. It's a thing.
Dangerous. It's dangerous being a witch.
Fire doesn't play.
Mm.
Okay, that's going to settle there, and I'm just going to put it on my makeshift altar. That's going to sit, I'd say for me, I'd like it to sit either 24 hours or 3 days. I'm not
I
sure.
like 3. Yeah, I like 3.
And then we can get back to you with the results of said ritual preparation of crystal.
Yes.
Because honestly, I think that when you're working with a crystal, you should give it a little. You should just give it a tiny little bit. I used calendula in my little bee bowl, by the way.
Oh, it was calendula. I love calendula.
Yes,
Oh, what a beautiful pairing.
I know they've got that kind of artistic vibe to it. I don't know. I just liked it.
I like
It's my
that.
orange candle, and I was in the vibe. All right. We are closing off our second podcast. Thank you so much for listening to the Broken Pentacle. That's it from under the upside down sky. You've been listening to the Broken Pentacle, where the stars tell different stories and the magic, as always, has teeth. Until our next episode, witches, thank you so much for joining us. Take care. Big blessings, and I'll chat to you again soon.
Bye.
Bye.